All right, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Content Creators University. I'm excited, folks. I'm very, very excited. This is the episode kickoff, right, for the Black History Month celebration. And we have amazing things that we're about to talk about. And I have an amazing guest to kick this off, folks. I'm very, very excited about what we're about to talk about. So, folks, if you're new to this platform, well, my name is JP Hightek. I am a worldwide branding expert. And what I do is help brands, entities, individuals make an impact, right, when it comes down to their visuals and build the brand. That's very, very important. I always say, it's crucial to understand the difference between building a business and building a brand. And what I help you do is build the brand so that your legacy can be established so you can make that impact in this world, right? That's what I do. So if you want to connect with me, well, we're about to talk about how you can do that in just a minute, right? Before we get started, folks, before I bring the guest that we have, Pierre Quinn, onto the stage, we always have some news that we like sharing, right? What is happening with us here? What are the news? What are the upcoming things in the Content Creators University? And also giving a shout out to the folks that are in the comment section with us right now. So before we get started, look at this. Watch this quick shout out by my man and my friends right here shouting out Content Creators University. And we'll be right back to talk about the news. Don't go anywhere. Stay with me.
Yo, it's your boy Jay Dunn. Look, you are on Content Creator University. You finally made it. It's live right now. So stay right here because it's about to be crazy. Let's go.
All right, that's my man, Jay Dunn. I love your shout out. All right, so let's talk about the news. And let me go ahead and bring this up right here. This is our first news right here. And this is the Unplug Conference 2022. All right, it's Unplug 2022. And folks, go ahead and sign up. I am humbled to be one of the speakers. And this is a hybrid event, right? We have 2 days in person and 1 day virtual. This is taking place in Atlanta, Georgia. And if you are in the business industry, if you're a leader, if you are in the HR industry, you want to come. We have about 11 amazing speakers. And I am excited for us to connect there and to bring vision, to bring knowledge, to bring collaboration, to leverage networking. And folks, one thing that I also love about this is, well, we have catering, right? We have refreshments, we have food. We're about to enjoy ourselves. We're about to stay in an amazing place and connect. I'm excited about this. COVID changed things where it was hard to be doing this type of things. And I'm excited for us to get back into doing in-person speaking events. And this is amazing. Again, go and visit the website. This is unplugconference.com. Go ahead, get your ticket. This will be phenomenal. Now, something else that is happening in the Content Creators University, like I mentioned earlier, is this right there. And this is the Black History Month. And the series is called Black Successful Creators. What I'm doing here is that I'm putting some amazing, phenomenal leaders and creators onto the spotlight, right? And inviting them to come here and talk to us about things that matter. And when I'm talking about things that matter, well, let's go ahead and talk about what exactly matter and see the titles or the topics that we'll be discussing. This is the first one right here. And this will be tomorrow. As a matter of fact, this is Nicole Robert Jones. And Nicole Robert Jones is a transformational speaker connecting faith, purpose, and profit. All right. And she will be here tomorrow. So we can talk about how to find and walk in your purpose. Ooh, the title already is making me excited, and I'm ready to learn from her. And she's the Bankroll Your Brilliance expert. If you don't know what all that means, well, show up tomorrow, and we'll kick this up tomorrow right here at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time in the Content Creators University. Looking forward to that conversation with Nicole Robert Jones. And also we will have next week, as a matter of fact, I believe, next week, February 15th. She will be with us here. This is LaShawn Davis. And LaShawn is going to be sharing with us what it takes to step out in faith. We all have those projects, those dreams. But what happens whenever we actually, step out? We have that faith and we just walk in it. What are the things that we deal with? How do we maneuver things, our emotions, our feelings, and the reality that we're facing, right? There's so much that goes into it, especially for my entrepreneurs out there, those of us that have small businesses. There's a lot of things that we do, and we just do it out of faith, right? Well, We want to learn from LaShawn as she's doing phenomenal things, successful a Black creator, and she will be here to talk to us about amazing things. Looking forward to this conversation. And we will have my man filmmaker Sean Woods the following day, which will be February 16th. And he's coming to talk to us how to build a solid clientele, folks. How do we do that? How do we build that solid clientele so we can live our 9 to 5 and really, really embrace what God created us to do, right? Well, he's going to be here. And like I said, he's a filmmaker. He is, creator, that director at Sean Media, and I'm excited. Sean Woods Media, he's his company, and Sean Woods is a friend of mine. He was actually with us last year during at the beginning of season 2 of Content Creators Universal last year, and it was a great conversation. He's coming back this year for the part 2 during this celebration of Black History Month. So looking forward to that conversation. If you're excited, folks, mark the calendar. Get ready, subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss any of these amazing episodes, all right? We will also have Rachel G. Woodson will be with us here. And for the folks that do not know, she's an international celebrity coach and reality TV host of BET Love and Quarantine. And what we're talking about is life, love, and purpose. How do we manage life, love, and the purpose God has given to us, right? How do we manage all that? Well, we're about to talk about that, and she does amazing things as she inspired other people to do the same and to be successful within what God has given them to accomplish on earth, right? Purpose is very, very important in our lives, and I'm looking forward to this conversation as well. And you guys already know that we have Pierre Quinn backstage that's going to be sharing with us how and why we should, leverage as leaders, right? Why is it important for us to leverage creativity, right? For the folks that do not know, but Pierre Queen is a talent development speaker, and he helps leaders. He actually helps build leaders, and that's what I love about that, right? He's a leadership development facilitator. Man, Pierre and I, we actually connected through a different conference from Nugent. And since then, I've been following his amazing work. And we're about to bring him right here for him to connect with us in just a minute. Before we do that, for the folks that did not know, right, let me go ahead and let you know right now in case you did not know. Well, we are also available. All right. This show is available in audio podcast. If you were watching the video, if you're listening to the podcast, well, I want to thank you for connecting with us on the audio podcast. And we're syndicated across any major platform, talking about Spotify, Google Podcasts, Audible, you name it. You can find Content Creators University with JP Hightek right there and listen to it 100% free. New episode every single week. Now, talking about that, we are also available on Roku TV. And a lot of times I do get folks that are wondering how exactly are we getting this done? And before I talk about that, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to the folks that connect with us every single week. Welcome in my show in your homes. Right now, we are broadcasting this show right now on my Roku TV application. And talking about that, I am using a solution called RTN Streams. And let me scroll down. RTN Streams is a solution that will allow anybody, if you know how to upload anything onto YouTube, then you know how to upload things onto this dashboard, and is a plug and play solution. And the website is rtnstreams.com. You can use this solution, folks, and build your own Roku TV application and syndicate all of your broadcasts, right? As going live simultaneously and having your broadcast on TV. This is a whole new level when you think about the value and the net worth that this is bringing to your business and the things you're doing. Well, that's a different conversation. You want to look into it. Again, the website is rtnstreams.com. And earlier I did mention for the folks that are new to our platform and are wondering, how can I connect with JP? Well, that is very, very simple. All you have to do is go to my website, and that is Hightek.com. JP, J as in John, P as in Paul. If you listen to the podcast, Hightek.com is the website. Go ahead and connect with me, and I will love to connect with you as well, right? All right, folks, let me go ahead and bring our guest, Pierre Queen, right here onto the stage, and let's go ahead and do it. Hey, my friend. How's it going, Pierre? Welcome to the show.
Listen, man, I feel like I've arrived in some ways. Just by being here with you, man. It's an honor to hang out with you.
My pleasure, man. The honor is all mine as well. Again, thank you so much for accepting our invitation to come and teach us, share your wisdom. Folks, you got to know, he gets paid top dollar for this. So get ready, take note, because I am excited. Now, Pierre, one thing that we always say every single week is all of our guests, right, are professors. So you are going to be our professor today. But before we get started, I want you to take a minute, introduce yourself to the folks that don't know you, give us more information about who you are and everything. All the juice, please.
You know, what's so cool about my life and my work is I was the kid that at times I got in trouble for talking a little bit too much in school. I also got in trouble sometimes for talking a little bit too much in the family growing up. Always had a joke, always had a witty comeback, always trying to jump into an adult's conversation and give my 2 cents. And now I get paid very well to facilitate life-changing conversations. So as a keynote speaker, as a workshop facilitator, as a leadership coach, I teach leaders and their teams how to better assess their strengths, how to shape stronger organizational cultures, and how to foster the relationships that lead to personal and professional transformation. And I'll tell you, with all of my leadership development work, with all of my training, with all of my experience, being a husband and being a dad are my biggest leadership joys, but they're also my two biggest leadership challenges, and I'm learning each and every day.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. And I relate 100% as a father and husband myself. That is true, right? Working hard every single day to build that legacy at the same time, having that challenge and making sure we are keeping them safe in a world that is ruthless today, man. I mean, it's just it's something else. It's something else, brother. So thank you so much. Now, we have an amazing conversation, but before we do that, right, we want to connect a little more with you and learn more about the things you like or the things you do. So I got a list of questions here for you. So first thing I want to ask you, are you an early bird or a night owl, Pierre?
Ooh, it's night owl, man. Night owl. Unless we're going on a trip, unless I'm flying on a plane to go work with a client, it's night owl. We're gonna stay up late.
Staying up late, chilling, and then also with the wife right after we put the kids to bed. That's my life, man. That's what I do.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, man. Taking advantage of that. All right. Next question will be, are you more movie and popcorn at home or video games during the weekend?
Movie and popcorn. We're a movie and popcorn family. I grew up as a video game kid. All right. So I'm an 80s baby. So Super Nintendo, Nintendo Entertainment System, blow into the cartridge, Super
Yes, sir.
Nintendo, Sega Genesis. I grew up on video games. My daughter's not so much. I tried, man. I really tried, for a long stretch. They were heavy
Mhm.
into the Nintendo Switch for a long stretch, but that kind of died off. So on the weekends, it's always popcorn. It's always movies going in my house.
Wow, nice, nice. Man, that's me all day as well. My wife tell me, you why do you like, I mean, after everybody's asleep, right? Because, my wife doesn't always like action movies and stuff like that. So after I've given the family what they wanted to watch, what do I do? Now I'm going to go ahead and put my action movies up.
Well,
Yes,
it's
sir.
crazy.
And I love
My,
it.
my wife loves movies, but sometimes our genres are different. So I'm like
Hmm.
I'll watch a dry documentary style war story, and my wife is more into the suspense. We kind of meet in the
Oh,
middle when it
okay.
comes to action, but our genres are a little bit different when it comes to movies. So I find my own TV and watch what I want to
There
watch.
you go. There you go, man. That's the beauty of it. Now, let me ask you this. Are you French fries or mashed potatoes with some gravy on it, man?
Listen, now if I'm making the mashed potatoes, not only do I want them, everybody wants them. All right, I got world class.
Okay, okay.
You're a world class branding expert. I make world class mashed potatoes. Take that
Okay, okay.
to the bank.
Oh, nice, man. I just learned something new and didn't know that, man. Okay, okay, okay. I got you, man. Now, this question, man, when I was putting it together, I was like, I wonder how he's going to answer this. So let me ask you, Pierre, are you workout at the gym or virtual VR experience?
Okay, you know, don't react badly to this, JP.
Okay.
I've never had a virtual VR workout
Wow.
experience. See, I knew you.
Wow.
I've never. I don't even think I've put on a headset, man. I can't. Nope.
Wow,
No, I have.
man. Okay. Well,
I know
folks,
it's bad, right?
let's say welcome to the Content Creators University, man. That is what we do. And if you didn't know, I know there's a lot of folks just like you, man, that have never done it. And there's a first for everyone. If you didn't know, yeah, man, you can. The Quest 2 is amazing. I purchased it and I was like, man, it's just a hype. No, it's not, man. It is a real experience. It's amazing, and it doesn't break the bank. For the folks that are listening, you can watch Content Creators University on your Quest in your VR every single week. I'm excited about that. Go ahead and connect with that and connect with a subscriber in your VR, and let's connect every week. All right. So I know, Pierre, you're the workout, right? Okay, cool. Now we're about to dive into everything that we're here for today, right? All the questions and talking about creativity, leadership, and the things that you do best, right? Building others so they can offer the best versions of themselves. But before I ask you those questions, let me ask you, we are doing the celebration of Black History Month. So I want to ask you, when you hear that, Black History Month, when you hear that, what does it make you think of as a Black man living in America today?
This is a little tough for me. My parents are from Arkansas and Mississippi, so southern U.S. They grew up born in the 50s, late 50s. My parents grew up in the 60s, amid the racial tensions of America, and
Mm-hmm.
they've so many stories they told me about growing up and what life was like for them. And when I got older, my parents bought an ebony magazine, Black History Encyclopedia. It was a 5 or 6 volume set, I believe, and we would sit on the floor and we would read these stories of all of these amazing people who've done amazing things. And I said as a kid, I want to be one of those amazing people. So when
Hmm.
I think about Black history, there are a couple of things that come to mind. One, modern technology, tons of opportunity, great things going on in our world, but still a gap.
Mm-hmm.
Still a gap in recognition, still a gap in awareness, still a gap in mindset in many regards. But also with that gap comes an amazing opportunity. And part of, I believe, my legacy is to create a scenario where my kids and my kids' generation can look back to some of the great things that have happened historically with our people and our country, but also they don't have to create a scenario where they don't have to look that far back to find inspiration. Like go as far back and get the complete history. But when we're looking for an example, a role model, a story of making it, a story of impact and influence, we have those older stories, but
Mm-hmm.
also to be
Mm-hmm.
able to leave behind a more modern story that fits the paradigm and allows people to celebrate their history and story as well.
Man, fantastic, fantastic answer, man. That got me inspired because it is true that we have two dynamics, right? We have a dynamic of our generation, right? Growing, and then the newer generation. And as we're raising them, trying to merge both, right? The classic history and the modern history, trying to put those together and help them understand, because we have a different generation that have a different desire, different focus, right? As technology, we just mentioned talking about VR and everything, technology has gotten to a different level. So they're more in tune into the technology. So how do we bring that classic history, background, merge it with the technology of today and make that interesting to our current generation, which is what that resonates in my heart when I think about Black history. As a technologist myself, as a leader in technology, that is crucial. How can we bring that together? Which is why I'm so excited about this series that we're doing, celebrating Black successful creators and leaders during this month. And also, that as a father and as a man, that allows me to step back and think about all the leaders in the past, right? Those that impacted generations. And I always say one thing: everybody impacts a generation, because if you impact one life, you are impacting an entire generation. One person is an entire generation. And if you're a leader, in my humble opinion, you are making a difference. And we all have a different purpose and a different path to walk. And that depends on first our understanding of things, how we're applying the knowledge that we have onto our life, and also how are we sharing that knowledge, right? Which is the other aspect of it. That leads me to the next question. The sharing knowledge as a leader, here you are, you help people do that. But before you started doing that, you had to define yourself, what it meant to you, a leader, what that meant to you. And I want you to share that with the folks that are listening and watching this show. For Pierre Quinn, what does it mean to be a leader today?
This definition, JP, has continued to evolve over the years as I've worked with different people, as I've gone on a journey of self-discovery for myself. And at its root, it's the same, but the nuance of it continues to shift. And when I think about leadership today, I think about individuals who bring the experience of who they are. I think that's very important. Like who you are in terms of your beliefs, in terms of your values, in terms of your attitude and your worldview. So you bring who you are and you bring what you offer in terms of skills, talent, ability, who you are and what you offer, and you step into a gap. Who you are, what you offer, you step into the gap, and stepping into that gap leads to a closing of that gap in some form or fashion. For me today, that's how I define leadership. I find a lot of people who have a lot of experience. We find a lot of people who are gifted. They're talented, they're skilled, they're educated, they got degrees, certifications, whatever it is. But sometimes it's difficult for those individuals to step into a gap. And a gap is anywhere that there is a distinguishable, discernible need, and bring who they are and what they offer into that space for the intention of closing that gap, for bringing the pieces together and facilitating transformation. I know a lot of well-meaning, talented people who are afraid to step into gaps. And you cannot lead effectively unless you step into a gap. Wherever there's a deficiency that fits what your interests and skills are and experience, there's a deficiency, there's a lack, there's a need for training, there's a need for upskilling, there's a need for development. It's part of the reason why you've had those experiences and why you've received that training, so that you can help close the gap for other people. And as we're celebrating Black history, right? We're talking about individuals, and you have an amazing, amazing panel of people that you're interviewing. And if we go back earlier in history, we're talking about people who closed the gap for other people. Gifted, talented, skilled, courageous. They brought that to situations where there was sometimes extreme lack and huge gaps. And sometimes their nudge was huge and sometimes their nudge was smaller. But no matter what they did, as we look at their stories, we recognize and celebrate them for their work in closing the gap.
Wow, that is amazing, right? That is amazing what you said, right? Working towards closing that gap, which is crucial. And our forefathers and, they've been working on closing that gap for generations. Yeah. And here we are picking up the torch where they left off and trying to do the same thing. Because my next question was going to ask you about your why, right? Why exactly? Because your bio, I was reading your bio, and it clearly says that you build stronger cultures and foster transformative relationships. And so I'm like, as he's doing that, well, there must be a reason, right? A more intimate reason as of why you decided, because you could have decided to do a number of things, Pierre. Like, there's so much that you could have done. I mean, seriously, you just mentioned you used to love playing video games. I mean, there's so many tangents you could have gone to, right? But you decided to focus on leadership and fostering, a new leaders and building the current ones and providing substance and resources for people to use and to keep growing, and which we need, right? I always say everybody needs a mentor. Everybody needs somebody to check in with, right? Even the president of the United States has absolutely a private circle where he had his advisors about advices and feedback to brainstorm on decisions and different things like that. Can you share with us that little intimate information as of why did you decide to go on this journey?
JP, you know, I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can in terms of movements and perspectives. Okay. So if I go to a little to being a young kid, I grew up in the house of an entrepreneur. Grew up
Mm-hmm.
in the house of an entrepreneur. My father, grandmother, and uncle owned a dry cleaners and a commercial laundry facility. And actually, we had three buildings, a delivery system, $700,000 in government contracts to do dry cleaning work, to do sheriff's uniforms and lab coats and all cleaning all of the things for all of the people. And watching how in the late 90s my family lost that building because of some lost the business because of some leadership challenges. During the same time, I watched my father collaborate with and reach out to other entrepreneurs in the city. And I saw so many people who had such gifts. I don't, you know, growing up in a culture where growing up in my neighborhood, there's someone who can fix cars and there's someone who can do hair and there's someone who can
Mm-hmm.
cook as well. They have all of these skills, but they don't know how to sustain those skills and lead to greater profitability and greater transformation. They have the skills to do a job, but not the skills to lead a business and lead a team. So I saw this picture when I was a kid. If you fast forward to freshman year of college,
Mm-hmm.
and I go out for freshman class president on a whim. I write a speech on a napkin and give a speech. I win freshman class president. Someone else who was running for freshman class president says to me, she was just irritated. She said, she says, she says, great words don't make great leaders. Oh, and that got me. Oh, that
Hmm.
stung, man. She said, great words don't make great leaders. And she was upset because she wanted to be freshman class president. A couple of months later, I led the freshman class to a battle of classes competition at our school. The freshmen never win battle of classes. It's a team building competition games, and we won because of my best friend and I led the charge of what it looked like to face these challenges and win these games. So I'm having this little drip of what it means to lead a transformation. You fast
Mm.
forward to graduate school. Now I'm teaching freshman students. And I realize when I put my students in group projects that they're having a tough time because higher education teaches us how to be smart as individuals. My grades, my project, my proposal, my portfolio. I was taking these freshman students and challenging them to be smart together, and they didn't understand leadership and team building. So at that point, as a graduate student, I said, this is what I'm going to focus on. Everything for me will go through the lens of leadership. Fast forward a couple of years later, and I think this is the biggest one for me, is when I started pastoring. I went back to grad school, went to theological seminary, and got an opportunity to pastor a small church in Kentucky. I had
Mm-hmm.
3 years of seminary training. I had a graduate degree in communication. I had taught for several years up to that point. I worked in different industries. And when I got dropped into this role, I had no idea what to do.
Hmm.
And I said, I want to come alongside leaders who are sitting in a seat of responsibility for the first time and have no idea what they're supposed to do, and help them wrestle with feelings of uncertainty, feelings of doubt, working through those and stepping into those gifts, talent, skills, and abilities, stepping into the gap with those things and making a difference. So that's sort of a long-winded answer to how I got sparked to do this, but that's my story and I'm sticking to it.
Man, I love it. I love it. And it resonates a lot with me, right? And because that is everything in essence, everything that Content Creators University is about, right? Empowering others to lead in whatever aspect industry they're in by leveraging something that we all use, which is technology. And that's why I love the topic of today's conversation is why leaders need to leverage creativity in today's society, right? Because one thing that we notice, right, is that pretty much every organization is trying in some way or another to leverage content creation in order to drive, whether it's more traffic, increase sales, or what have you, whatever it is, they're using that to increase, right, their businesses. but it didn't always used to be like this. So my thing there is, as a professional, why do you think that people all of a sudden are tapping more into it? Organizations are trying to tap more into this. Why that? And why is this so important in your opinion?
I think when we think about content creation, it was almost like from a gatekeeper perspective, right? If you go back several years, I mean, I'm sitting on a show now, Content Creators University. I feel like in some ways I'm sitting on whatever your news brand of choice is. I feel like that. The quality
Appreciate that,
of
man.
the interaction, what you do, and I've watched you for a while. But think back several years ago, you couldn't do something like this unless you had a lot of money. Unless you had a lot of money. Because with this platform, with your voice, with what you share, there comes a perspective of influence, which is a key part of leadership. I think for a lot of organizations, if you go back to the definition that I shared before, they recognize that content creation allows them to step into gaps in different ways, allows them to close gaps in different ways. One of the biggest gaps that we deal with is the competition for time. Competition for time is a huge gap. Now, as a 80s kid, right, grew up in the 80s, popular TV shows of the 90s, I have mine. One of my favorite shows growing up was Family Matters. Family Matters. So, Family Matters happened to come on the same night that I was going to choir rehearsal as a kid. So, and you know how it was, JP. If somebody didn't stick a VHS in the VCR and it hit record for you, if you missed an episode of anything, it was gone. It was absolutely gone. I think individuals and businesses are recognizing, regardless of how many people we have watching Content Creators University right now, this episode, what happens is this exchange, the influence and impact from this exchange reverberates for years. I've had podcast interviews that I've done, and it'll be randomly some night at 11 p.m. Someone will hop into the comments on a YouTube video, on a podcast episode that I recorded 3 years ago, and say that conversation was so valuable. Thank you so much. So businesses are recognizing, wait, I can in a 24-hour capacity help connect with the people that I'm looking to attract. And individuals are recognizing that, wait, there are no gatekeepers that way anymore. And I could be an analyst by day, a data analyst by day, and a top chef with a YouTube channel or TikTok by night. And I can express my creativity and widen my influence. Well, I'm going for it. And now you see big brands partnering with content creators to elevate their brands in a totally unique way.
Wow. Man, that was true, man. Once you miss that episode, once nobody records it, man, you're in trouble. Like, it's gone forever, man. You can't get it back. And today we have so many avenues, man. YouTube, social media, TV, Amazon Fire platform, Apple, you name it. We have ways not only to do things that we were not able to do at a fraction of the cost, but when we do it, we can get back to it so easily and it stays there forever. That is amazing. Talking about making a dent in the universe, talking about impacting and having that little thing working for you, because you never know who's going to watch what, where, or when. Which is why I always tell people it's not about how many people is watching it while you're live. It's simply about making sure you're holding those conversations, because you never know when that will be a blessing to somebody that might be going through something at a certain period of their life, and they're going to come up and discover that broadcast, that video, that little segment that you shared that little word, which is something that I appreciate about you, Pierre, because I started following you. And I've noticed one thing that you do, right? You on Instagram will post those little words, right? That's going to cause somebody to think, cause you to start rethinking the same way you've been looking at the same thing, but from a different perspective, which I appreciate from you. But from somebody like me, when I'm looking at you as a guy that is all about cinematography, web designing, and all those type of things that I do, I'm like, look at how this leader is using creativity to share a message that quote unquote could have been observed as boring, right? But that same way, you're taking a complete different approach in the delivery mechanism that you're using. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about leveraging that creativity. Because somebody, right, as we're planning this, somebody messaged me and said, that's good, but I wonder why put an accent on creativity. That's what somebody said. And I'm like, that's good. So now, let me bring you and let me ask you, why is it that we have to be in multiple ways a little more creative in the way we're delivering our messages?
All right, so let's go old school business, business class, 400 level business class. Let's go back 100 level business class. Classic business case, right? We've beaten this dead horse, but it works for our conversation right now. Again, growing up in the 80s and growing up in the 90s. So growing up in the 80s, growing up in the 90s, for me, Saturday night was blockbuster night. Saturday night was blockbuster night. And if you did not get the blockbuster by a certain time, there were no, in the beginning it was VHS and it eventually moved to DVDs on the shelf. And Blockbuster had the lion's share of the home entertainment market for several years. And I think that's the challenge for, especially if we start to talk about legacy businesses that have been successful over the years. We talk about legacy churches and legacy schools. We've had so much success over the years. Our brand positioning is solid. And we're like, if it's not broke, why fix it? The market always changes. The market always shifts. And if you don't shift, one of the big things about leading in this disrupted environment is that there is a call for innovation. And innovation is not just let's rethink our whole framework. Innovation is sometimes let's just rethink our approach. Let's change chairs and look at it from a different perspective. And what creativity allows you to do is that it allows you to look at things from different perspectives, which is so crucial for a leader. As a leader, are things static. Rarely is it linear. More often than not, you're going to be thrown a wrinkle. And when you're thrown a wrinkle, you have to be able to adapt. Now, here's the beautiful part about this, JP. As a leader, even if I don't deem myself to be a creator, oh man, I get so excited talking about this stuff. Even if I don't deem myself to be a creator or creative, I have two distinct opportunities. One, get a creative on my team. Get several creatives on my team. Collaborate with my creative friends. Be around creative people. Figure out how they think. The other piece is I have the distinct opportunity to be a master curator. A master content curator. And curation is think museum. Museums don't create anything new with the exception of the trinkets they give you in the gift shop, possibly. But the creativity for the museum is the arrangement of things that have already been made. Their creativity is in how those things are arranged for your particular experience. So I might not be, if I'm leading my team through innovation, I'm leading my team through a change. Hey, I might not be the most creative person, but what I can do as a curator, I can create a podcast and interview people who have led their organization through change. That becomes the podcast sponsored by my organization for my employees. I'm not the creator, I'm the curator. I bring the talent, I bring the wise minds, I bring the innovators, I hold space for the conversation, and eventually some of their creative perspective and spark rubs off on me. And also, I create opportunities to leverage the creators, because creators is not, we know it's not just video, it's not just audio, not just graphic design. Sometimes it's ways of thinking about the problem and allowing, some of my creators to facilitate some of these conversations so that we can see things from a different perspective.
I love that. I love that, because the question that came to me, which I added to the list of questions that I had sent to you, and you saw that is, what is a leader, or should a leader be a creator? If so, why? And you just, in different ways, answered that question.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you just said, right, quote unquote, there are leaders that do not consider themselves a traditional creator. But at the same time, we need to understand that creativity has something else to do with creating content the way it's defined in today's society. Because if we were to go to the root definition of the word creator, and we've looked into that in this show before, creator says that Google tells you, or the dictionary tells you, that creator is anybody that's bringing something into existence. So my thing is, are you bringing anything to existence? Businesses, or you name whatever wasn't there before. Even a post on social media, it wasn't there before until you posted that. So whatever you're bringing into existence makes you a creator, because you created that. And in order to create something, you had to tap into something called creativity. Right? That creativity is what we tapped into, which is abstract, by the way. But we tap into that, and we make that, right, a physical, tangible thing now, which is living within the ecosystem of technology in today's world that we live in. So that is crucial that we understand that. And also, what I love that you said, what I love is that we need to look at, or at least adopt, a different philosophy in the way we approach things, right? Which is one of the core values of a leader, being able to think outside the box, right? Being able to step back, have a fresh perspective. And I also appreciate what you added to that, Pierre, is having a creative within your team. Man, that is phenomenal. Like, a leader knows the strength and weakness. First of all, you know your own strength and weaknesses. Now you're able to identify the strength and weaknesses of the people that are in your team. And as you do that, you're able to develop a format, which is a recipe for success, which is what? I know what I need in order for my team to be successful. So what am I going to do? I will go ahead and look for those individuals, those talents, right? Because, I mean, we cannot do it all by ourselves. That's a fact. And a leader knows that, right? And as we go look for those people, now we're building a team of what are called, conquerors, right? Now you're going to conquer the world, and you're going to be successful. Now, talking about that, though, right? There are some leaders that will tell you, well, I have a small business, right? And I see today that organizations are trying to do podcasts or doing the traditional content creation. Do I need that, right? I'm not into social media. I just want to do my business and move on. What can you say to that type of individual or a person that's wondering if that will be a benefit or if they should even care about it?
I think this gets a lot of individuals, and we're blown away. We're blown away by a JP Hightek, because we see all of the pieces. We see wonderful hosting, we see great graphics, we see great technical acumen, and we say, I can't do that. I'm not skilled enough to do that, or I don't have the time to do that. I think this goes back to what we were talking about before, recognizing my role in the creative process or the outcomes that I'm looking for. A television host, in most cases, now in this world, we're really integrated, but before, your television host didn't run cameras. Their
Mm-hmm.
television hosts didn't edit. They didn't do audio engineering. Now we have some convergence of that. But I think there's also an opportunity to go back to a previous perspective on it. I don't have to be the one to push the buttons. If I have an idea, I can outsource. As a matter of fact, as a leader, there's probably more things that you need to be outsourcing that you're not. And you're overwhelmed because you're thinking about all the buttons and the posting and getting everything right.
Mm-hmm.
Find someone that is their zone of genius. I'm not trying to be JP Hightek. I'm not trying to JP Hightek is JP Hightek. But what I will do is I will watch JP Hightek. I will study the notes. I will look in the comments on YouTube. Oh, that's the camera, that's the microphone. Okay, that's how the setup. I need an intro. Okay, I need a
Mm-hmm.
bumper. Okay, I need some graphics. Fine. And then if I don't have the bandwidth, I find somebody. There are so many people out there who love bells, whistles, transitions, buttons, the technical pieces of bringing the story together. And what I love about this, because I've produced a lot of stuff before, what I love about this, I just have to sit here and talk.
True.
And you can be in a scenario where just because it's your show doesn't necessarily mean that you have to create the graphics,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily mean that you have to edit it, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do all the technical pieces. But in the world that we live in, and this is February, and I'm in a short creative respite as I'm
Mm-hmm.
recalibrating. In this world that we live in, you have to understand what success looks like in the framework of where you are right now. Before, it was direct mail,
Mm-hmm.
mailing
Mm-hmm.
1,000 people. You get an email, a physical mailing list, and you send that postcard to everybody in the neighborhood. Door to door, knock on the door.
Right.
Hey, when's the last time you had new windows? I'm a window expert. I can tell you. Even in the mall, there are people who clean your sneakers, right? Hey, man, let me
Mm-hmm.
clean your Jordans. Let me spray it on you. Let me show you how much I'm an expert at this. You are doing a disservice to your gifts, talents, skills, and abilities if you are not putting yourself in a position for more people to hear your voice. That might not necessarily be for transaction's sake, for you to say, hey, I'm trying to make money. Okay, I get it. It doesn't have to be. But there are more people who need to be impacted by your zone of genius. The word I picked for 2022, what year is it? 2022
2022. Yes,
was
sir.
amplify.
Mm-hmm.
I picked that word, and then I got an invitation to be on Content Creators University. The reason why I accepted the opportunity, because I said JP Hightek has a cross section of individuals that I might not ever get to speak to share my experiences and my perspectives. And I would do myself a disservice if I did not take the opportunity to elevate my voice as a leader and as a teacher of leaders. So whatever your expertise is, if it's washing windows, if it's baking cookies, if it's balancing checkbooks and keeping people out of tax trouble, as your voice is elevated, as more people experience you, you actually leave a greater impact and a greater legacy. You don't have to do everything. But in this world, we're done with direct mail like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In this world, we're done with door to door in that way. The new direct mail, the new door to door is social media, it's video proof, it's conversations like these. And you don't have to be in every sandbox, but you need to pick one to play in.
Ooh, you ain't gotta be in every sandbox, man, but you gotta pick one to play in. I love that, man. Talking about that, man, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick ad break, and we'll come back. When we come back, what I want us to talk about is for the folks that actually will be like, Pierre, now help me, right? Help me. It's hard for me to be creative. It's hard for me to use that. I'm a leader. I'm a manager. I'm a supervisor. I influence somebody, right? What are the things that I need to consider in order to be successful, in order to be able to really tap into that creativity that I know I have, but I've been struggling with? Well, we'll talk about that when we return. So Pierre, stay with me. Let's go ahead and run this quick ad and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
This is Todd. Hi. This is Todd's mom.
All right, everybody, if you just joining us, I want to go ahead and welcome you here to the Content Creators University. We've been here with my special guest, Pierre Quinn, and we've been talking about the importance of, us leaders leveraging creativity, right, to impact more and grow that impact, considering today's technology and everything that we have at our fingertip, understanding the difference between the classic world, 80s and everything that we had, and how hard it used to be for us, right, to do the things that we're doing today, and how easy it is today, but also understanding priority and how to place ourselves in a position of winning. So that is fantastic. I want to thank you, Pierre, for all of this jams that you've been dropping for us. Again, thank you so much for everything. And now we are here to ask you, okay, we heard you. We understand the value proposition. We understand the importance of tapping into that leveraging technology, creativity in order to put our voice and grow, so that, like you just said, right, there's certain people that are part of my public, my group, my inner circle that will have never traditionally heard your voice if you hadn't positioned yourself to be at a place like this, to speak to them. So now, for that person that is a leader, that is a supervisor, that's a manager, that is somebody that's impacting somebody else's life, right, but struggle with tapping into creativity, and will tell you, I'm not very creative, because there are people that feel like that and feel stuck. What will be for you some recipes, some solutions on how they should maybe approach things, or what they can do to help them unlock that way of thinking or that creativity that they have inside of them, or what can they do to be more impactful?
So I would say first, and I do this in a lot of my leadership coaching, we retrace steps. In all of our lives, we have a point where we can clearly distinguish when we felt creative. It might be elementary school, middle school, high school. And I think it's really important, as you did before, reframing how we define creativity. What was that section of life where you felt like you were the most creative, and what was going on there? Part of the conversation is we're tapping into the fact that you're still in many ways that person, or you still have access to those components of yourself that you tapped into, and discovering what that block is, what's keeping you from doing that. It's really a mindset thing. The second piece is find community, right? Plug, shameless plug, Content Creators University. Find community of people who are at different stages of their journey. So you have people who are just starting off trying to figure it out. You have people who have been doing it for a while, and you have people who are pros in the game. Find a community of people. It is the hardest to try to do things like this on your own, no matter what it is. Working out, getting your finances together, becoming a better parent. It is hard to do it on your own. That word, that idea of community is so powerful. So get around people who are looking to do the things that you're looking to do. And then the last one is, and I know this one's going to scare a lot of people, and it's okay. Do it scared. Do it anyway. Start with minimum viable products, or can we switch it a little bit, JP? Start with minimum viable productions.
Ooh.
Minimum
Yes.
viable productions. So your creativity might be a 1-paragraph email that you send to your team every week, sharing your thoughts. Your creativity may be a 60-second Sunday night Instagram or TikTok video that
Mm-hmm.
you pull some thoughts together. Your creativity may be going to your PR, your marketing team and say, "Hey, I got an idea. I want to have more visibility in our business and to our customers. Create a show for me. Set me up for success. Allow me to be great. Produce a podcast for me." So what is the lowest hanging fruit? And this is important because 1.0 is never the best.
Mm-hmm.
Embrace the messiness and mistakes of 1.0 and build. I've started podcasts that I've ended. That season was over, or I figured some things out and I relaunched. I started video series that I ended because that series was over, or I picked up some new things or some new perspectives or some new equipment, and I
Right.
unset that one and I started another one. And the beautiful thing about this world that we're in now is, as long as I'm telling the people where I'm going next, the people who have committed to and connected with your message, they'll follow you there. If you let them know this is where we're going, this is what the next iteration looks like, they'll follow you there. And not only that, here's a secret. And I know you talk about this on Content Creators University. When I pick the audience, internal or external, that I'm looking to attract and engage with, the secret. Can I tell them the secret?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
They will tell you the content that they want you to create for them. They'll tell you.
It's that easy, man.
They will tell you. But that idea of the mindset piece, how do I tap into, again, my creativity, that community piece, how do I get around like-minded individuals who are looking to do some similar things? And 3, how do we start the process of minimal viable productions? Let's get something out of there. Let's get something out here and let's try it and tweak it. That's the reason why they shoot pilots of television shows, because they want to see, is this idea gonna stick? And if it
Mhm.
sticks, we'll run with it. If it doesn't stick, we'll go back to the drawing board using the
Mhm.
lessons from that pilot and create something new.
Listen, man, this is so good, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. I've been taking note, and that one thing that I will tell you, my takeaway, if you didn't take anything, is what Pierre Quinn said. My takeaway from him is, do it afraid. Don't be afraid to do it afraid. Folks, we're going to start saying that in the Content Creators University. Don't be afraid to do it afraid. AKA, shout out to my man, Pierre Quinn. Man, this was phenomenal. I want to thank you for an amazing time. I know, sadly, we've come to the end of our show, but for the folks that are like, you know what, I want to connect with Pierre. I want to continue a conversation. I want to learn more and be social with him, network with him. Where are the places and spaces that you spend your time so they can learn and connect with you?
Yeah, the second best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/n/Pierre Quinn. That's the second best place. It's my social media platform of choice. I hang out there the absolute most. The best place to connect with me is actually on my website, pierrequinn.com. That's pierrequinn.com. Don't type in Pierre Quinn, because that's a photographer in Canada that I'm not related to. You gotta put the C between Pierre and Quinn, and that's how we'll get connected. Go ahead and hit that contact page, and I'd love to connect with you.
All right, folks. You heard it. Pierre, for the folks that listen to the podcast, P as in Paul, I as in India, ERRE, C as in Charlie, Quinn is QUINN.com is his website. And remove the C, just having a Pierre Quinn on LinkedIn and connect with him. Pierre, thank you so much. I want you to stay backstage as I go ahead and close with the folks, and I'll be right back with you. All right, family. Again, this is what we do, right? Every single week. This is what we do. And this month, we're celebrating Black history. And we have amazing guests, just like Pierre Quinn, that are coming in. And if you appreciate this type of videos, well, I want to encourage you to go ahead and smack the like button down there so that we know, right, that you appreciate that. That's your way of supporting us, and it will not cost you a dime, family. And also, I want to encourage you to show back up here tomorrow. We have another guest. Nicole Robert Jones will be with us here tomorrow so we can talk about your purpose, how to find and walk in your purpose tomorrow right here in the Content Creators University. Folks, it's going to be an amazing celebration this month, and I'm excited. And if you are excited, go ahead and share this video. If you learned anything with a friend or family member that's a leader, that you consider a leader, that's a good compliment, share it with them, and they might learn a little something. Like we always say, the day you stop learning, you stop growing. And our philosophy here in the Content Creators University is to keep learning in order for us to keep growing. I'll see you tomorrow, folks. And I was excited with my guest today, I know. And it is a pleasure every single time we have this conversation. Be safe, like I always say. Shalom. See you tomorrow.